So I knocked that off my list just in time to get to class. I have a full day, maybe a little longer lunch than I should have. That conversation in the hallway goes a little bit longer, and I find myself back in the same spot at the same time. It's 11 o'clock, and I haven't done anything toward my paper. So now, not only have I not made progress, I'm behind, and I feel pretty bad about myself. But nonetheless, I know what I have to do, and make that sprint into the wee hours of the night to finish this paper. And at some point, I just say to myself, you know what? I just gotta get this done. Because if I don't, that's bad. The humiliation of not completing it is worse than not writing the best paper my professor has ever read. So what leads to these dynamics? We can look at the surface level, but I want to look more deeply what's going on underneath. And self-worth theory of achievement motivation gives us a tool for doing that. So self-worth theory asserts or posits first and foremost that the paramount psychological need that all of us have is to be seen by ourselves and others as capable, competent, and able. So in a school environment, that means we need to be thought of as smart, as good at math, if that's our identity, as the excellent writer, bound for science. If we're a valedictorian, we come to expect that. So self-worth theory says we need to be seen as capable and able and competent. That's what we need to do. And because it's the primary paramount need, we will actually sacrifice or trade off other needs to realize or achieve or meet that need. And that's where procrastination comes in. So here's a way of thinking about it that kind of captures some of the dynamics. It's a kind of a simple model. Now, first I want to say that this is a model of people's beliefs about performance and ability, self-worth, achievements. I'm not saying that this is how we should be. I'm saying that this is what we've discovered through research. Basically, we have this kind of simple model in our head that my performance is determined by my ability for the most part. Effort has a role in it, but ability, my innate capability and skill and knowledge, not knowledge, my innate skill at doing something, largely unchanging, that's what determines my achievement level, my success, something. And those achievements, those successes or not, determine my sense of self-worth, how I think about myself. So in a sense then, these things become equated with one another. So people who are particularly fearful of failure, people who procrastinate a lot, put myself in that category, at least in the past, have a kind of simplistic equation in their mind. Their performance is equal or equivalent to their ability, which is equal or equivalent to their worth, their self-worth as a person, as a human being. So we go from a grade on a test to ourselves in the world and to the people we love and care about, our teachers, our friends, and through little steps. So with that understanding, we can see how procrastination isn't just a matter of a habit. I don't like this activity or this assignment. I never did like physics, even though I'm a physics major. Actually, that's probably not the case. Often people procrastinate about things that they love. They're fascinated by physics. But when it's 11 o'clock at night and the piece sets due at midnight, you're not loving that. You're just trying to get it done. So it's important to understand a couple things about procrastination in this simple model. One of them is that we can't simply forego the opportunity to achieve. We can't just pick easy tasks and say, well, I achieved, that's great, I feel good. So what this model shows is a key insight from self-worth theory. We used to think in psychology that if you really wanted to achieve, say, for success, then you would not automatically really want to avoid failure. But in fact, that's not the case. So not one dimension, one spectrum, there are actually two. You can approach a task, really want to do a task, and at the same time, really not want to do a task. You can want to succeed on it, and you can also really fear failing on such a task. So these are actually two different dimensions. And many people at Princeton, at Berkeley before that, where I used to work and where a lot of this research is done, actually are high on both dimensions. We really, really want to achieve. It's very important to us. We're driven. Maybe you've heard that word used to describe you. But we're also fearful of failure and what it means. So we have two sources of motivation. So in fact, procrastination, in many cases, the cause of that is we're over-motivated. We're overly striving, both away and towards something. And that's what we've learned, that procrastinators are actually not less motivated than the